The man's morning routine was the same as it had been any other day. Wake up, smell the carbon monoxide, blare Justin Bieber, and harass the homeless. However, this was no ordinary day. The date was the 14th of February, and he had a date waiting for him. However, unbeknownst to him, someone else already had him in their sights.
Oh man, my secret admirer. Jesus finally came in clutch. I always wanted a PS1.
However, this secret benefactor's intent may not be as innocent as it seemed.
Fine, I guess it's hootin' time.
I'll get to you in a minute. So the PS1 was a pretty important console, there's no doubt about that. It was Sony's first foray into the video game market after their previous failed deal with Nintendo. And as we know today, the PlayStation brand would eventually skyrocket into something truly amazing. But do we really know that? I still don't have a PS5, so maybe that's just a bunch of bullshit.
Where are they?
I did not have a PlayStation childhood. I've always been a Nintendo fanboy through and through, until around 2015 or so, when I really wanted to play Minecraft, so I caved in and bought a PS3. And then I proceeded to buy exactly 0 other games for the console before selling it. I was an idiot. Nowadays, I'm a pretty big PlayStation fan. I definitely prefer it over Xbox. Oh, and the comments are already starting a flame war. Whoop-de-doo. But since I wasn't around in the early days, I have no clue what kind of weird stuff was on this thing. You want to hear about weird GameCube games? I got you all day. Geist, Odama, Doshin the Giant. I love the GameCube. But today, our focus is the PS1. I picked out 6 PS1 games that I heard were weird or just straight up bad and took them all for a test drive. That phrasing is far too appropriate for the game we're about to dive into.
So first up, Hooters Road Race. I've never really considered myself a big fan of Hooters. Big surprise there. I mean, there was one time my dad tried to take my entire family there, but democracy always wins, so we went to Denny's instead, and I wasn't really complaining. Anyway, let's see what the game has to offer.
So, we start with this fantastic opening that takes us through the entire United States, backed with hardcore music and women.
Is Hooters sexist?
Alright, let's get into the menu here, and oh hey, I think my buddy Camden has a calendar just like this. So, looking at the map, I can only assume that the premise of this game is that we're driving across the country, making our way to different Hooters locations. That's a terrible idea for a road trip. Why would anyone subject themselves to that? And I say I can only assume because there really isn't much of a story here, believe it or not. We have these FMV cutscenes in between races that show what is presumably a real Hooters employee welcoming us to bumf Georgia. Or maybe it's just some random chick being held hostage. I don't f***ing know, her performance seems really forced.
Hi y'all, welcome to Georgia. How you doing,
You literally just have to say one line. That is your entire acting career. And you can't even put your full effort into it. Anyway, let's get into the actual game, which is a racing game? I don't know what I was expecting, honestly. Probably something like Overcooked, but with Hooters girls instead. So I pick my car and get into a race, and Jesus Christ, this gameplay is so bad. Why does it turn so hard? I barely push the stick and I start looking like a drunk driver. And oh shit, he's coming right at me! I'm gonna be sick. So I got the hang of it eventually, but by that point, all the other racers were so far ahead that the game wouldn't even spawn them anymore. I wasn't even a part of the race. And just because I got a hang of it does not mean the game is good. No racing game should control like this ever. It's actually annoying to play. See, even the AI doesn't know how to play.
Yeah, this game is bad. I don't even think this was good by 2002 standards. Wait, why did this come out in 2002, after the PS2? That makes this even worse, because we were supposed to have a greater sense of quality control after 9/11.
So how about we play an actual good game? I'm sure this probably isn't the first time you've heard of this game. Everyone and their mother's done a video on Pepsi Man. So Pepsi Man was already an established mascot for the Pepsi brand over in Japan, because of course it was. Japan is very wacky, and I wouldn't be surprised to see something like this on TV over there. I mean, it's a pretty basic character design. He just looks like a buff dude who went to Suntan City and said, I want to look like Pepsi. but apparently the true story is that he was a scientist who came into contact with the Holy Pepsi, which turned him into the superhero Pepsi Man.
Hey, I got some Pepsi right here, so let's see if it's my lucky day. Really? Nothing?
Alright, now that you know the true identity of God, let's get into the actual game. We start with this FMV cutscene of a man buying a Pepsi from a vending machine, and I think he's schizophrenic. Interestingly enough, this dude's American. I don't know how else to put it, like, look at how white he is. I only bring that up because this game was only released in Japan, so I thought it was pretty interesting that all the cutscenes in the game were completely in English. So after we see the big guy once again with even more Pepsis, we get into the actual game where we're introduced to the main premise. Apparently there are people out there who are seriously dying of dehydration, so it's Pepsi Man's job to race through the level to get them their Pepsi. That seems really counterintuitive. I think we're just guaranteeing them an early grave. So here we are, running through the street, dodging all the people and cars around us, and now I'm breaking and entering. That's great. And now my head's stuck in a garbage can, and I fell in a hole. That's great. I love the sheer amount of Pepsi advertising in this game, though. Like, they want you to know what game you're playing, because this logo is f***ing everywhere. Also, I love how the people don't seem to be bothered by his existence at all. Just another day in Ohio. And now we get to skate down the street. This is actually so cool. It reminds me a lot of City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2. So now I've made it to the end of the second level, and I've got a whole crowd of fans surrounding me. All 570 of my YouTube subscribers here to show their support. Oh, now this is some f***ing sabotage. I'm being chased by a rolling Pepsi can. My own company has betrayed me. Is this how Jesus felt? I spent an embarrassingly long time on this level, but we beat it eventually.
You're doing pretty good. Have a Pepsi. Next stage.
I feel like this guy is me in 50 years.
So we get into the next level, and holy shit, arson! What the f*** am I supposed to do here? I think we've got bigger problems than dehydration. It's like 2020 all over again. Alright, so I beat the level, and... oh. So now we're in the sewers, that's cool. Well, actually, I just ate White Castle. It must smell terrible down here. Let it be known that not even Pepsi Man can survive being hit by a train. So we make it back to the surface, and oh shit, I got a gang? I might need to sign up for this. We do some crazy Spider-Man jumps, and... well, he's dead. Game over. Okay, no, this is like Sonic Adventure 2.
Pepsi for TV game.
Alright, he's starting to scare me a little bit. So now I'm getting assaulted by a biker gang that I can only assume is pro Coca-Cola. And then we go to what I can only assume is Albuquerque, New Mexico. I even see an RV in the distance. No, there's nothing there. But there are bison for some reason. Pepsi Man f***ing hates bison.
Alright, I think I've consumed enough Pepsi to shorten my lifespan by 20 years. But hey, this is pretty good. I mean, going from the horror of Hooters Road Race to an actual good game? That's a miracle. And it didn't even take 3 days.
Alright, next game. So a friend recommended Irritating Stick to me, so I figured I'd give it a shot. To my understanding, this is based on an actual Japanese game show where contestants have to guide the stick through the course for a chance to get 1 million yen. So yeah, let me try my hand at this. I'm sure I could win that money easily.
I can do this all day.
So, this sucks. It's not even that fun of a concept. You just guide your stick through the course and try not to hit the edges like Operation. But games like this make me so nervous. It's like that level from Mario Galaxy where you're in a bubble and you can't touch the electric fence. Except somehow this is so much worse. I eventually made it through the first stage with no real desire to keep playing, but you know what, let's give it an honest try. So we progressed like normal and oh boy, motion sickness! I'm usually not one to get motion sick from video games, but god, I was not expecting the camera to switch like that. I almost puked. Then we have this roulette thing we have to make our way through, and thick Roombas. The game told me I was bad. I think that's my cue to quit.
Look, game shows are fine, but I think I should just stay in my comfort zone. Wheel of Fortune is where it's at. Speaking of, I think this next game might have a little to do with that. Well, I think Pat Sajak has a cock.
So, this game is really weird. We start the game with a news broadcast being hosted by chickens with some honestly kinda bad voice acting, but you know what? It's got character.
I'm Chicken Little.
And I'm Henny Penny.
Once again, presenting the controversial videotape received earlier today.
No, like really, the plot of this game is wild. Apparently, the world is being taken over by a sentient cube? That's literally all it is, it's just a talking cube.
I always knew this day would come. Get away from me!
So the cube kidnaps a bunch of chicks, so it's up to Mort the Chicken to retrieve all the chicks and take down the cube. This is really weird. So right off the bat, I just want to say that the camera in this game is complete ass. It's so hard for me to tell where I'm going and how far I'm jumping. This point of view just does me no favors. And then it's always jittering all the time too, and that's just really disorienting. Aside from that, it's an alright concept. You can attack things by slapping them with the feathers on top of your head. It's kind of like one of those sticky hand things you played with as a kid. Also, can we just look at Mort's proportions real quick? What is going on with his neck? It's like the fucking Applejack's mascot. So yeah, in each level you go around, collect all the chicks, and leave. That's literally it. It's cutscene time again, and Cubicles explains that the fleshy beings had taken the cubes hostage, so he took the chicks hostage in retaliation. Alright, so now we're in Chemical Plant Zone where we basically just do the same thing again. Weirdly enough, this level is easier than the first one, but there's not much more I can say about that. It's just the exact same process again. And it's really hard to die too, because if you fall off the level, there's this wind that just brings you straight back up. So really, there's almost no difficulty to this game, and yet it's still so horrendous to play for some reason. Alright, we're back to the news, and apparently Mort the Chicken is in the wrong because he's trying to save the chicks, which goes against the chicken's innate nature of panic. So by not panicking and trying to solve the problem, he himself has become a problem.
I solved the problem.
Alright, next game. This is one that I thought was a really cute and unique idea, and the game itself is actually pretty fun. If you don't suck at video games, no one can stop Mr. Domino. No, this isn't an ad for Domino's Pizza. Scott isn't gonna jump out at you and start talking about Hatsune Miku.
Hello everyone, I'm Scott, president of Domino's Pizza. Have you heard of Hatsune Miku?
It took me way too long to get the gimmick of this game. Like, it is genuinely embarrassing. So you play as a walking domino, either male or female, because civil rights. Let's load up the first level, Fat Tony's Casino. And that's fat with a PH. Oh, wouldn't want to forget that. So first of all, this level design is pretty cool. Like, we got a chess set here, which is all the rage with the kids these days. God, how old am I? There's poker, Newton's cradle for some reason, playing cards, cool stuff. And these all serve as obstacles, mind you. That's pretty cool level design. Now, the point of this game. As you run through the level, you see these little buttons that are raised up. As a domino, you have the ability to shit out other dominoes that you can leave behind you. And here's where the skill comes in. You line yourself up with the buttons and leave behind a trail of dominoes. And then, once you make a lap, you come back around and crash into the dominoes, knocking them down onto the button and causing a chain reaction. Hit all the buttons and you beat the level. That's a pretty unique concept and a really great way to make a game about a domino. It just makes so much sense. Granted, I'm terrible at the game. I feel like he just doesn't move the way I want him to sometimes. Like, I want to change my course so I can line myself up with the button, but he turns way too slow sometimes. Again, I'm probably just bad though. Sure, there are boost panels all over the level, but those almost make you go too fast. Like, how am I supposed to strategize like that? It's a fun game, but mixing a calculated puzzle game with the high speed of something like Mario Kart is hard to get used to. But hey, this isn't one of those games where I'm so bad it makes me rage and never want to play it again. I actively want to get better at it because it's fun and genuinely a little addicting.
Because one addiction just isn't enough.
The next level is a grocery store, so that's pretty cool. Where we dropping, boys? The next level is the last one I'll talk about. It's based on your regular everyday home. It makes me think of something like Chibi Robo or Katamari Damacy. But you know what? I'm just gonna let this gameplay play out in its entirety because, well, it gets weird.
Alright, well, that might be the weirdest thing I've ever seen, but surely the next game won't be as weird. I stand corrected.
You want to talk about weird? This is weird. LSD Dream Emulator. Can you even call this a game? The creator of this game was one Osamu Sato, who decided that instead of using the PlayStation to make games, he wanted to make something more, like art or music. So he took the dreams from one of his employees' dream diaries and turned it into a whole interactive experience. There's really no end goal here. All you can do is walk around in a first-person point of view until you interact with something that transports you to a new dream, if you will. I don't know if this is what LSD is really like, but man, this is trippy. Pretty accurate representation of dreams, if you ask me. In the moment, our dreams might make sense to us, but then we reflect on them and realize how f***ed up we really are in the head.
I had a dream that I got pissed on in the school bathroom. That's it.
So let's see, I'm in what looks to be Japan? I'm always expecting something crazy to happen, like a nuke is gonna come out of the sky or something, but I guess not. Then I get transported to this weird street-like area at night, and this is some serious liminal stuff. I feel like I'm gonna get sent to the back rooms or something. Yeah, this is scary. I have no clue what's going on here. Okay, wait, no, this is actually getting scary now. There's literally a man in a trench coat following me. What the hell is that?
Alright, you know what? I'm done. This game is too freaky for me. I feel like I'm gonna get my house haunted, or the FBI is gonna come after me, or something. There's so much you could possibly find in this game. And we've barely scratched the surface of what you can see. But do I really want to see more? No. Anyways, I think I got a bit sidetracked. I mean, I was supposed to be going on a date today. Mao Zedong came back from the dead just to go to Denny's with me. I can't stand him up. Home sweet home. Oh, come on!
But then, he had a thought, a most brilliant thought. Was this date really that important? No, of course not. After all, there's always a Waffle House.